Hey, in today's English lesson, I'm going to teach you 5 English idioms about relationships that you can start using today. I mean right now, to speak English more fluently. Are you ready? Well then, I'm teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. The very first English idiom is tie the knot. Good. Again, tie the knot. Excellent. Now, this idiom literally just means to get married. Yes, you heard me right. To get married. Now, I'm going to give you 3 example sentences, but before we do that, I want to make sure you're able to apply this idiom to your life. So, we have tie the knot being our first idiom. So, what I want you to do right now is think of 3 couples, that have tied the knot. 3 couples that got married. For example, I can think of my parents tied the knot many years ago. Think of another couple you know of that tied the knot. I have some friends who tied the knot, and also my sister and brother-in-law tied the knot. As you're learning English idioms, it's important, as soon as you understand the meaning, it's important for you to apply it to your real life. When you do this, you won't forget the idioms. So again, tie the knot. You have 3 couples you already said out loud, right? I hope you're also able to write them down. I'm writing them down, so I want you to also write them down so you'll remember them, all right? So here's the first example sentence using this idiom. They decided to tie the knot after dating for 5 years. In other words, they decided to get married after dating for 5 years. Makes sense, right? Excellent. All right, here's sentence number 2. We're tying the knot next month in a small ceremony. We're getting married next month in a small ceremony. You got it? Good job. All right. And sentence number 3. After tying the knot, they moved to a new city to start their lives together. You got it? Excellent. So, idiom number 1, you can start using it right now. Remember, we already did. Idiom number 1, tie the knot. Excellent. All right. Now let's move on to idiom number 2 about relationships. After me. Bury the hatchet. Good. Again, bury the hatchet. Excellent. Now, what does this mean? Bury the hatchet just means to make peace or end a quarrel or argument. Again, to make peace or end a quarrel or argument. Let's say you have an issue with one of your friends, right? Maybe even somebody that you work with. There's a quarrel between the 2 of you. You've been arguing for a while. When you bury the hatchet, you stop quarreling. You stop arguing. You come back together being friends. So again, just like we did for the first idiom, the second idiom we have is bury the hatchet. So I want you to think about one specific person, either in your past or someone you need to bury the hatchet with, all right? Again, remember, focusing on the fact that it's someone you had a quarrel with, but the quarrel comes to an end. Who do you need to bury the hatchet with, or who have you already buried the hatchet with? I can think about a friend who I had to bury the hatchet with, so I'll just write maybe a fake initial, right? I had to bury the hatchet with a friend, right? We were arguing. We were not necessarily as close as we used to be, but after we buried the hatchet, we went back to being close friends. Again, bury the hatchet. Make sense? Excellent. All right. Check out these example sentences. And remember, make sure you wrote down your person's name. All right. Here we go. They decided to bury the hatchet and remain friends. They decided to stop arguing. They decided to kind of let things go and to be friends again. Next, sentence number 2. It's time for you to bury the hatchet and work together. Make sense? Good. All right. And sentence number 3. After a long feud, they finally buried the hatchet. They finally stopped arguing. They finally came back together. Make sense? Excellent. So again, idiom number 2 is bury the hatchet. All right. Idiom number 3, another good idiom. We have on the rocks. Good. Again, on the rocks. Excellent. Now, again, remember we're talking about idioms related to relationships. On the rocks just means in a state of difficulty or discord. A little bit rocky. You haven't gotten over the argument. You're still in the midst of it. You're not necessarily strong. You're not necessarily safe, right? On the rocks, in a state of difficulty or discord. So we have our third idiom, on the rocks. So what I want you to do is think about someone either you know personally or maybe even a TV show. This is better. Think about a TV show you've watched. And in the TV show, there was someone in the movie, not the movie, excuse me, in the storyline. You can pick a movie if you want. A movie or a TV show where a part of the storyline involved 2 characters being in a dispute and their relationship was on the rocks. They weren't doing well. Think about that character, the main character and that main character's partner. Write their names below the idiom, on the rocks. Think about 2 characters who had a relationship that, it was really on the rocks. One of my favorite movies is The Sound of Music. And the 2 main characters, the maid, the woman that was taking care of the children, and the man that owned the house, the father of the children, their relationship was on the rocks, right? So I'm going to put The Sound of Music. And I know I'm referring to the main characters. The main characters. I'll put C-A-R. The main characters. Again, think of a movie or a show where the characters were going through a little bit of a difficulty. Their relationship was on the rocks. Make sense? Excellent. All right. Check out these example sentences. Here we go. Sentence number 1. Their marriage is on the rocks after the recent disagreements. Their marriage is on the rocks. Next, sentence number 2. The project is on the rocks due to a lack of funding. Notice this is not about an individual. In the definition, it says in a state of difficulty or discord. So this is used to speak about relationships, but you can also use it to speak about projects. And sentence number 3. Their friendship has been on the rocks since the argument. Their friendship has been unstable in a state of difficulty since the argument. You got it? Excellent. All right. So again, number 3, we have on the rocks. Idiom number 4. Idiom number 4 is see eye to eye. See eye to eye. Good. Now, this idiom just refers to agreeing or concurring. Agreeing. Being on the same page, another good one. Thinking the same way. When you agree with someone, you see eye to eye. So I want you to think about now, we have idiom number 4, see eye to eye. I want you to think about 2 of your friends. 2 of your friends who you normally see eye to eye with. Normally you agree on things. So I'm going to say my friend Wilma, my best friend Wilma. We have the same viewpoint when it comes to religious things, right? Wilma is one of my friends. We see eye to eye. And let's say when it comes to business, I have another friend. We speak about business all the time. My friend Lawrence. he has his own business. So again, think of two friends you see eye to eye with on certain topics or subjects and write their names down. Why? Again, when you do this, it will make it easier for you to remember the idiom later on. All right? See eye to eye. Here's the first example sentence. They see eye to eye on most political issues. They agree. Next, sentence number 2. It's important for business partners to see eye to eye. And finally, sentence number 3. We rarely see eye to eye when it comes to decorating. We rarely agree when it comes to decorating. You got it? Excellent. All right, so again, number 4, see eye to eye. Now we're gonna do idiom number 5, but I want to remind you, don't forget to download the English with Tiffany app, because after each lesson, you can practice what you're learning inside of my app. These idioms, seeing if you remember the meanings and how to use them properly, all right? Go to English with Tiffany, the English with Tiffany app. All right, let's go to idiom number 5. A match made in heaven. Good. Again, a match made in heaven. Excellent. Now, again, we're talking about idioms related to relationships, right? So this refers to a perfectly suitable combination, a perfectly matched combination. We say a match made in heaven. So I want you now, again, our 5th idiom, a match made in heaven. I want you to think about your friends and think about the couples you know amongst your friends. Which couple, pick one couple, is a match made in heaven? They just really match each other well. My sister has some friends, Philip, I'll put PH, Philip, let's see. Let's do this because of space. Philip and M. Philip and M. These two, Philip and Mandisa, are a match made in heaven. They've been together for a long time. A match made in heaven. Think about a couple you know that are really, these individuals are really perfectly matched, perfectly suitable to each other. All right? Here's the first example sentence using this idiom. Their partnership is a match made in heaven. Next, sentence number 2. Peanut butter and jelly is a match made in heaven. Peanut butter goes very well with jelly. And finally, sentence number 3. They're a match made in heaven because they have so much in common. Again, they're a match made in heaven because they have so much in common. You got it? Excellent. All right. So again, we had 5 different English idioms today. And remember, when you think about situations, people in your life to match the idioms, you'll be able to remember them even better. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I can't wait to talk to you in the next one.